Hey everybody, good morning. It's David here at BeckerArt, and today we're going to be doing a fall scene, I guess you can call it. It's a lantern, and we're going to be doing that with the light being on. So, hope everybody's been having a great weekend. Hey, good morning, Maria. And so let's go right to it. And so first, good morning. It's David here at BeckerArt, and today we're going to be doing. Sorry about that. I had my volume up. And let's go right to our value study here. I wanted to show you that I have a lot of grayscale in this. If you look at the background, right here, like the greens and stuff, that I'm going to put into my light area. And so a little bit so that it's not just the background being dark and the foreground leaves and the light itself being light. And that's so I'm going to make a little bit of the background on the top here. And I'm going to eliminate this thing right here. I'm just gonna put that in there back here. I'm just gonna make that all sky, and I kind of like these branches, but I'm gonna keep it soft edge back there. And so that's what I was looking at my value study, and really, if you are a artist that does watercolor, you have to do your value study. I do it with my black and white and no tan of the picture, but you need to have something. You need to look at the values. It's I right now when I'm in my classes and stuff, I ask my students. I really need them to know the value pattern, because if you don't have the value pattern, then you're kind of flying by the seat of your pants and trying to just figure it out on the fly, and it's not a good thing to do as a watercolorist. Really get to know your value pattern, and to the point where you know where your darks and lights are going to be. You have to know that. And so let's go right to our tabletop and get going. So here I drew it up, and I like the colors, and so I'm gonna kind of go with the colors red and green, and a little bit of yellow and purple. There's a lot of purple and yellow and red and green in this, and so I'm gonna stick with that. And so the sky being light blue, I can put that in there, but I'm gonna probably make it a little bit more violety blue, so a little bit more reddish blue. And so let's get going. And if you have questions, guys, just let me know. So last night I was at a opening in Lake Zurich. They had a portrait show there, and pretty amazing stuff. I was really surprised at how many good artists there are. And just when you think about it, this is just my little area here, northern Illinois, in about 50 miles north of Chicago, and it's amazing how many good artists there are. And these are all portraiture, and portraiture is a hard thing to do because it's all about drawing and painting at the same time. So I was very impressed with the work that they had there. And so here I'm going with a little bit of ultramarine blue, just toning it down a little bit, and I'm doing it on the lights first. And so remember, the lights were the background, and these leaves. The leaves themselves are all orangey, and so I'm just going to put this in here real quickly. And then I'm going to go right away for the orangey, reddish colors. And I think the show will be up a little bit. So if you're in the neighborhood of Lake Zurich, Illinois, head up there and see it. It's really a nice show. They have a gallery there. Go on Main Street Art Gallery, go online, and find out what the time is first before you get there. And so let's go with my yellows first. And so here's the lamp, and so I'm going to make some of the yellows right here, and right here in the center right there, I'm going to keep that white. So I'm just going to kind of push that away and put the yellow orange in there. And then anything close by here from this orange part, and it gets a little bit orangier as you go away from there. And I'm doing the lights first, so you can go right over the darks. And especially these darks right here, I'm going to keep actually orange and make it look like it's reflected light. A little bit more orange in these areas here. Work your lights, work them really nicely. So one thing we watercolors definitely do different from oil painters, and when I'm out there painting plein air, it's, you know, it's no different. It's no difference, and it's still light to dark. And a lot of times now, if I do use, every once in a while, I'll use like acrylic, or I'll use oil paints, water-based oil paints and stuff, and I still work it light to dark because I do washes with my oil paints and stuff. So it's no difference when I do it, you know, in whatever medium I'm using. I still start with my lights. Excuse me, I've gotten so used to that, doing it that way, that I don't know how to do it any other way. I feel weird if I put my darks in first, because I can go over my darks with, I can go over my lights with my darks later on, and so that it covers up all the little things I have with my light areas. So I'm not doing the shapes of these leaves so much, and that'll be determined by what I do with my darks, right? Because they cut out the shapes. So when I do my darks, I can cut the shapes out of the leaves. And right now I'm just putting the warm colors down, and all this right here, or yellow, orange, darker orange, red. And so as it goes away from the lamp or light here, I'm just going to get a little bit more red with my lights. And not only is it lighter than the darks, but it's also a more vibrant color, the red, than the green will be. And I'll make these, it's the background grayish. I'll keep that kind of gray in the grays, and that way they'll stick out. They'll stick out really well. And so see how I'm just kind of going, I know it's small detailed stuff, but it's my lights, and I don't want to take this red into the green back here so much, but if it's a little bit, that's okay. But I want to kind of just do my wet in the wet washes of these little leaves. And it doesn't matter how small something is, you can still make it wet in the wet, meaning that you're floating your pigment in the wash so that it just floats on top, and getting some nice effects. I can also use this light red, which is kind of burnt orange, and I can put that in there too. If you really wanted to make them really detailed and go right in there and follow your lines, that's fine too. I mean, you can do that. I'm impatient in that aspect. I don't like to do that. To me, that's too much time spent. And since I'm also doing it in an hour, I have to hurry up. And so if you want to do it slower and go in there and get every little detail in each one of these leaves, that's fine. I have no problem with that. How detailed you get and how your style is, that's up to you. That's going to be definitely something that you learn on your own. The more you work, the more you get a style. Different teachers you take affect that style. So see how it's a little bit redder and more yellow in this area, and as it goes away, I'm getting a little bit more darker with my orange, and reds. And if you have any questions, please let me know. My chat went away again because some ads they have going here. I still gotta fix my front camera. Maybe I'll do that today. Though I do have to, my yard has been not kept up because I've been gone so long, and so I have to really get my lawn winterized and get everything closed, like the pool. I got a above ground pool I've got to close. So that's what I'm probably going to be doing this afternoon. All right, so there's my lights basically. I know that there are some orange light leaves up here, but I'm going to wait for that and until I get the background mediums. And actually what I'm going to do now is get the mediums back here. And I should wait a little bit so I can do my things around here and let that dry. So what I'll do is I'll kind of stay away from the leaves a little bit, but just do the background up here and just work your way around. What I'm going to have to do is I always find a path. Always find yourself a path on what to take. So I'll start here, I'll go around. I won't jump back and forth on the lamp. I can go through the lamp because the lamp is darker. So I can just go through. I'm going to stop right here, and then since it's going to be darker, just come around here, go up this way. So around this way, and then I'll come this way down. Yeah, and so by that time that'll be dry. All right, so let's see how we can do this. Let's wet this area. Just with a wet brush here, I'm wetting the area. This is going to be really dark, so you can go right over that. I don't have to worry about this. Just going to wet that area. And now we got to get some greens and some grays. So I'm going to use my quinacridone gold for one with my blues. Get some nice greens, olive greens, and remember my value study. Remember my value sketch, and so I should bring that into this scene just so you can see it. Let me just add that to this thing just so we can bring it up once in a while. Hold on one second. So there's our value study, right? And so I want to make sure that this area on top is, you know, I like the branches. I like the darks up there. It doesn't have to be as dark as this. It doesn't have to be black, but it has to be definitely darker. So, and this is wet up here, and so I'm going to get all soft edges right at this moment, which is what I want. I want to have soft edges. In the purple, I always like to put, in my greens, I like to put purple to make it kind of dull and gray. And so I can get some of these branches, get a little bit more of that green going. Go right through this dark, that part is darker, so I can go right through there. And I don't have to make it look exactly like what's happening here. I can just, you know, as long as I know my background here is like a middle tone. It's like a middle tone with some darks going through there. Again, that branch coming a little bit thicker. Branches coming here. Maybe there is a little bit of orange in here, so I'm just going to take what I have on my palette already. Put a little bit of that in there. Again, don't worry about the lamp. The lamp is going to be darker, so just focus on the background. Focus on the background. Make that look beautiful. Make it look really nice back there. Soft edged. Maybe a little bit lighter blue. Bluish green. I'm just going to go over this a little bit. Like I said, this is the path I'm going to take right now. And yes, this is going to have to be darker later, but I can also put that in later too. The darks. Go down here. Put a little light blue in there. Now as I go down here, I'm going to get really darker, much darker. Again, I'm going right over the darks. I don't have to worry about the darks. Those are going to be really dark. And if I need to have something a little lighter again, I can rub it out. I really like this paper for that reason. Let's get some little bit darker with a little bit more, no water. And I'm just going to put this branch in here again with a little bit more pigment. And so that'll be still be soft edged, but it's not going to bleed as far this time because it's a little bit thicker paint. I don't have that much water in my brush. So one thing I'm really trying to teach my students a lot to do is work into a wet wash. I've been really hampering on everybody to learn how to work in a wet wash so that you can have things a little bit harder but still soft edged. I mean, it's still wet. You're going to get a soft edge, but you need to be able to put enough pigment. And that also shows me if you have enough pigment on your palette to make it stop like I'm doing right now. So let's go in here. It's kind of too hard an edge right there. I'm just gonna. All right, so that's, and see how it's still bleeding? It's amazing how much it does bleed, even though I use it really thick. But it's okay. It's definitely okay. We can live with that. Here I'm just gonna do some texture. You know, just throwing some texture in there. Down here, there is a little bit of light happening down here. I'll put a little bit of the orange down here. So I'm just going to kind of go here first and just wet it with a color, but then I'm going to get pretty dark down here. And there's stuff happening in the background. Looks like there's all kinds of weeds or something. Maybe that's a table back there. I'm just going to make it really nice and dark. I'll take a Prussian blue now. There's a Prussian blue with cracking gold, Q gold. Get some dark greens down here. Start negative painting around these leaves with a dark. That's how come I didn't wet really close right here yet, because I'm going to go into these leaves and create the shapes of these leaves now. And whatever kind of texture you can kind of muster up, that's what you want to do in this area. Wet in the wet, and this again is going to be darker, so I don't have to worry what's happening there. I can spatter in there, whatever you want to do. It's up to you what you want the background soft edge texture to look like and be, and the colors. And maybe I'll put a couple reds in here too to make it look like there is something happening back here. But dark. I have to make this darker than, well, actually about as dark, not as dark as the lamp, but like a middle tone. At the same time, I'm cutting around these leaves, and the pole is lit up with a yellow orange, so I'm going to do that later. So you can just go right against it right now. And again, how detailed you want those leaves to be, how detailed you want this to become is up to you, and how much time it takes you to get it. Don't worry about that. That doesn't really matter. If it takes you a long time to make it look really complicated and really fine, that's fine. That's a fine thing to do. That's all determined by how you work. I'll put a couple branches here, leaves. Get a little bit darker here. It's gonna be darker than this post on the side. I'm gonna emphasize that a little bit more. Same time getting my leaves to look like leaves. Wetting it. Put a little stuff in there. But see how dark I'm getting? And because in my value study, remember my value study? Let me just post it up here one more time to show you. Look at how dark this bottom is. The bottom of this picture is very dark. There is this little white on the bottom, like a thing. I'm not going to put that in there so much because I don't think that's really necessary. But definitely want to get dark down here. And it's not black. It's not like the photo, black and white, but it is a darker contrast. Now this area, I'm not going to make it quite as dark. I'm going to start bringing it up a little bit. So I'm going to get more of a bluish green, a lighter green. Still want to go around my dry leaves here, the dry papered, so I can get these hard edges for my leaves. You could mask it out after I got done with the putting the lights on it. I let it dry, put Mascoid on it, and then just put a big wash across it. You can do that too. That's another way of doing it. And there's artists, that's all they do. They do a lot of masking fluid. And that's totally fine. It's totally another way of doing it. I'm not a big fan of masking fluid, but it's another way of doing it. So let's go a little bit lighter blue with my Chronactinum gold. And you can also use yellow. I left the room for a brighter yellow. I'm going to look for a lemon yellow or something really bright yellow. I left that because this is a new palette right now, and so I'm just going to leave room for some other colors. Going around this area. And like I said, you don't have to really go around this, but I mean, it's not that hard to go around it a little bit. And this is going to be really dark, so you can go right into that. I'm leaving this a little bit lighter up here. I just made a little spot right there. Get rid of that. All right, so that's that side. Let me dull this down a little bit, and I'm going to go right to this side. And look at how I'm using a very tinted color. This is just a tint of a little bit of light green. It's in my brush still. And I'm going to get darker as I go down. Like I said, I'm making this a little bit different because I made this all light. I don't like the darks up there. I just don't like that. So I decided not to do it. You can do that if there's something you don't like about a picture. You know, don't feel like you need to copy the picture totally like the way it is. So now I'm just going to go down. This is going to be darker, so go right over that. And try to copy whatever on this side, try to make it to that side. And since I have the color right here in my palette, just pick it up and put it on this side. And just kind of follow whatever's here, put on that side. Just kind of, if you have this side light and this side dark, it doesn't, there's like a wall here then. So definitely whatever's on this side of the post or a tree branch or whatever it is of a trunk of the tree, put it on the other side. And that's like you want to mix enough of the paint so that you can go back to it also. You know, or remember what you did. I mean, use the same colors. Go a little bit darker as I come down. This is my little lighter color. Or what you can do is go like this. Put it back into this side. So whatever you have on this side, put it on that side. That's one of those things I kind of forget to tell students to do, but it's very, very important. Like on a branch, whatever's on one side of a branch or a trunk or what's like anything that's an object and you're doing the one side, make sure that you make it on both sides the same. See, if I add purple to green, it makes a nice grayish brown, kind of grayish brown color. I like these leaves up here. I want to get a few more of those. Those are kind of neat. I'm going to put some of those down here, I think. So Prussian blue I use, a little quinacridone gold. Going around my leaves. Again, they're not perfect shaped of the leaves, you know, they're close enough. And the vines and stuff, looks like I use a little bit more purple down here and even some red in there. If you guys got questions, please let me know. I know a lot of times there's not many people watching on a Sunday morning, but they do watch it later on or during the week. So thanks also guys for stopping by and being a subscriber to my channel. I'm almost close to, I think, what is it, 5,000, close to 5,000 subscribers. I'll be very happy when I hit that. So that's pretty close. It's pretty close to both the same colors. Next Friday I will be teaching in Morris, Illinois. And then I'm off for quite a bit until November. And then I just judged the Kentucky Watercolor Society show in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'll be going down there. I'll be going down to Louisville. So if you're in that area and you're part of that club, I hope to see you in November. And I'm putting a little bit of these leaves. I love these leaves up here. And so that was a really dark blue with quinacridone gold. I'm going to get some of those down here, I think. A little bit more ultramarine. Just a nice, I'm just going to put some leaves in here like that. I like those darks. You can rub it with your finger a little bit and put on this side a little bit. It's a thick amount of paint, and when you want to have a thick amount of paint, now this is drying a little bit, so it's going to have a little bit of soft edges, but it's going to be more or less hard edge down here, which is fine. I kind of had this a little bit harder edge up there too. And I can go back anyways and get the nice hard edges later on too, if I feel I need that. All right, so that's pretty much all my big stuff, my big mediums and darks, and so now I'm pretty much into my detail stage. And I know, yeah, the darks are going to be detailed, like this, the post itself or the lamp. So we're going to use my little round brush here, my middle brush here, and I can go right into the darks now. That's my middle tones and my large darks, and now my detailed darks. And detailed darks can also be big area, like the lamp itself can be big. And I'm just going to go with a bunch of nice dark colors and just start hard edged. So kind of make sure it's dry. Even when you're putting it on thick like this, make sure it's wet enough so that you can still float pigment. I like to float other pigment in there, and especially in the bottom of this, I want to put a little bit of orange floating in here. And for my dark again, I'm not going to change too much difference of the colors. I'm just going to get more of a brown, and so it's going to be purple at the bottom here. And I notice that the sky is going to have a little bit of blue shining into there because I have a little bit of blue right up there, so I'm going to put a little bit of blue up here too. And I can rub it out a little bit here and there, and definitely want purple and lavender. Lavender is always a nice thing to put in there. And there's the leaves up there. There's little vines going all over the place, so you don't have to make it so perfect. And then there's this little thing holding a lamp. Anytime you put something down, right away while it's still wet, that's when you float other things in there. Like I can float lighter colors in there with like lavender. And just do it now. Don't think that you're going to come back. Always try to think that you're going to be doing this and then you're never going to come back to that area. I try to get everything done now and not worry about getting it done later, like layer and layer and layer. I know some people like to layer their darks and make them dark as they go along, but I think they're fresher if you can get them right away. And with enough water, and just put enough water in there. Hard-edged dry paper. Wet into wet for soft edges. A little bit of lavender again up here to be lighter, so reflect the sky. I mean, lavender is what? Blue and red and white. So it's a little bit of blue in the lavender. And see, this is all wet, so I'm going to get a soft edge, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that. A little bit of purple, make it a little bit darker in some spots. This little piece right there seems like it's a little bit of like a metal piece holding this all together. So that could be a little bit shinier. This back piece has some nice, this also has like ridges, like there's, like it's a tree trunk, and so there's bark, the bark look. A little bit of light, maybe a little bit of lilac. See, you don't have to just think that your darks are going to be non-colorful. You know, I'm not sure if that's a word, non-colorful. but they can be colorful. Your areas can be, even your darks can be colorful. As long as they're wet, you can apply pigment into that area. Now there's a bunch of little vines going through here. Look at how I can do it so nicely with the tip of this brush. It's so sharp. Like that got a little out of whack there because it was still wet. So I'll just let it dry, and then I'll make it a little bit taller, the post. Now as I come down here, I'm going to do a little bit more of the orange of the post right here so that it looks like it's lit up. Because this is the lighting the side of the post here a little bit. And there are some little branches here going across there. And this side is really dark. Well, no, it's actually not dark. It's actually a little bit lavender. So this side has a little bit of lavender in it. It's a little bit light because it's, again, the sky is on top and it's reflecting here and there. shadows on this side from the leaves onto the post. If you just mix all these greens and purples and stuff together, you're going to get a brown. See, I'm getting a brown gray. So you can just do that too if you never need like a grayish color of what you're using on the palette. Just mix it all together. It'll usually give you a really dark brownish gray. I'll put some blue in there. Put a little bit of warmth right here. A little bit of yellow. And again, how detailed you want it is up to you, totally up to you. You're still following a value pattern. You're still floating your pigment when you want the pigment to be wet and soft edged. All that stuff stays the same, no matter if you do it inside, outside. And this leaf right here. Put a little vine coming through here. I know it looks kind of very detailed kind of work, but it has to be kind of because these are little leaves and I'm painting around them. Like I said before, you could also use masking fluid and just put masking, but that would be a big project there in itself. Going in there and putting all these masking fluid on every one of these leaves, that would be a big deal too. So I'm just doing what I like to do easy. Let's put some green in here. Some purple with the green. Makes it a brownish color. Also makes kind of a blackish color too, so. And I know how people are about mixing their blacks instead of taking it out on a tube, but I basically have peach black in my palette and also, what's the one? Black, it's, oh, what's it called? I'll remember in a second. All right, a little bit more orange on the side here. Neutral tint. Okay, yeah, I got it. Neutral tint. I also have neutral tint on my palette. In my black, there's neutral tint and peach black. This is my really dark darks. And when it's wet, you can just throw any color you want in there because it's going to be floating on top. All right, I'll let that dry now, and then I'll get my hard edges in there. All right, let's do our lamp. That's our center of interest. So let's do the big parts of that, and let's make it really dark. And some parts like are shiny because it's metal, so I'm going to go with the lighter parts first, like a little bit of a gray with lavender. I put that in there first, and then I'll go with very dark black, Prussian blue, purple, crack'em gold. Let's see, no, it's basically in the purple family. So let's take more of this Mislone brown, make it more brownish, blackish blue. Like some parts are almost black, and so I'm just gonna make them really dark. And now this has a little bit of a pattern in it, like it's, I think, holes in there. Yeah, like little black dark holes. So I'll use a little bit of lavender with the dark. Oh, that's pretty thick. That's not floating, so that's okay. Then I'll do the edge of this. Learn to use enough pigment. Fresh pigment too, unless you're using Holbein, put in fresh paint. Holbein always stays fresh, so you don't have to worry about that. That's the reason I use Holbein, is because it's always fresh. It's always fresh. You never have to worry. Let's see, right underneath here, underneath this eave, there's a little bit of orange. Pick up more of your dark color that you mixed. And even on something this big, this is like my center of interest, even something like this, I make sure that you get a nice range of colors and values. But mostly dark. Mostly it's dark. Make sure my drawing is on a little bit so that it looks nice, drawing wise. And that's going to have a lot of reflection of orange on this darks that are right here. So I'm going to save those for a second. I'm just going to go with the darks first. Always the bigger darks first. Always try to get for the big stuff first and get down to the detail. Hey Sue. Great job that your I don't know who it was, it nieces or nephews, or I'm not sure who that was, that the kids that did that you had do the watercolor. Super great job they did. It was neat to see. Thanks for posting that on on the Facebook page. If anybody didn't see it, Sue had some kids, some relatives, I think, probably, do the mountain scene I did on Thursday night, and they did a super great job. Very, very cool. Anytime you do that, you know, that really makes me feel good that you're using these to teach kids and children how to paint and stuff. And it's just, that's amazing. So I'm getting the shape of this a little bit. Just get like a little straight here. Alright, got my small rigger brush now because I got these lines and vines and stuff, and so I'm going to take a more of a fine brush to get this lines in there. It's a liner brush, or a rigger they call them, and they're used for doing smaller details. And it looks like this is just, and this is detail I'm doing right now, so I'm just going with a small brush. At the same time, I'm going to try to do a little bit of this orange. And while it's wet, this is a time to put other colors in there. Let's say something's reflecting, or the, you know, the lavender, it's reflecting from the side. So I can just, you know, throw that into the water and let it float. Let it float. And don't be worried about using too much pigment. I have found that that's never really an issue. I've really rarely found an issue of somebody using too much paint. Oops, sorry. Saying sorry to myself. Yeah, I would rather you learn how to use too much paint than not enough paint, because it's hard to get people to use enough paint to make things dark enough, or make them darker than they're supposed to be in the get-go. So you're supposed to, you know, make it 20% darker than you think you want it, because it's going to dry 20% lighter. So you have to really push the darks. One of the hardest things for me to teach, and myself included. I mean, it's hard for me to even do it sometimes, because we really like what we see. But I found that by using the like black paper and using more of a thicker gouache, that it's making me think a little bit differently about how I'm using my watercolor. Because I'm using it thicker, like almost like gouache. So now I'm just going to get in here, get my darks in the leaves. Because there are some shadowy parts. And there are some little veins in the leaves, and you can put them in. It's okay, because this is my detail stage now, so I'm going to get in there, get some really dark darks, and get the vines. Get the vines in going through here. And see how dark I'm getting? I'm almost using pure black. I'm leaving this, let's put some of this in here now. In this part, I'm going to start with the orange first. This is like burnt out. This is like optical scatter. This is like it's burned out the edge of this object because the light is so bright, and that's called optical scatter. Learned it from Carl Bretsky. So see, I'm just making it look like the light is so bright. I'm going to try to make it soft edge too, because right here, so I'm just going to take this and soften it with a little bit of water. That's how you soften a watercolor edge, is always just give it water. You don't soften the edge, the water softens the edge. It's a water softener. Put a little bit of red in here. Oh, it's got a little bit too dark, so I'm just going to pull it out of there. Use my little bit smaller, stiffer brush so I can just take this out of here. It gets dark right away, but it's good to just give it that light. And same thing right here. I'm just going to make this orange, but then go right to dark next to it. And then I can put some more orange inside to show the inside of the shape of the inside of the lantern. Maybe the bottom here a little bit too. And there is even these background light parts. How much time do we have? I haven't even looked. Oh, we got plenty of time. We're getting pretty close. Now, I'm not sure if I want to put all these branches in there. Do I want to do that or not? I'm not sure. Sometimes, you know, you have that, you want to do it, and then you have to, if you ever have that and you're by yourself and you want to kind of look and you're not quite sure what you want to do with the painting, set it aside for a while, like overnight even, just take it, put it away and come back to it. And then usually your answer is already there for you when you come back, because you have a fresh eye and you're looking at it with a fresh eye and you can see if you want to do something to it. I would say just put it aside for a little bit and then come back to it. And I'm getting all the little leaves here. Again, shadowing little veins in the leaves. Some of the dark details. These are the final details. Let's go for some dark. Let's look for the dark. I'm gonna get all these dark little vines in here now. There's a few of them. Oh, so grandkids. Yeah, that's great. So Sue had their grandkids 7 and 12. And they'll remember that so much. I mean, I've worked with kids, and when they learn something like that, boy, that really sticks with them. They'll know how to do it now. and you may have started a career for them. They may go into art because they love it. They created something. Now here, let me show you how to wipe out. So I take my my 1/4-inch brush, and I'm going to wipe out a little bit of this vine that goes across right here. I'm just taking water on my brush and tickling it. I'm just going to tickle like this, and just don't scrub too hard. Just tickle it with your brush, and then it'll come right up. Depending again what paper you have. This paper, the Stonehenge, really comes off easily. And so I'll get even some of the little lights in here. Just rubbing it a little bit. And then the dark on the other side of this, I'm just going to right away put the dark in here. These leaves down here should be a little bit darker because they're away from the light a little bit, so I'm going to make them a little bit darker. And also maybe a little bit grayer instead of not so vibrant a red or yellow. Or getting rid of some of the little white flecks that I didn't go around. And also for kids, to have them do any kind of artwork, you know, they're creating something, and that they find that absolutely super incredible. And so it really, I remember when I was a kid, and my mom found me a class in Antioch, Illinois, and it was, and I'm almost thinking that's where the gallery was, that the Antioch Gallery is right now. And it was a guy who did life drawing. And he let us, and I was the only kid in the group. Everybody else was adults, or I think teenagers. I'm not sure. I don't remember it completely. But we had taken these little sculptures and we were drawing them with charcoal pencil. Man, after I did that, I really thought that, to me, that was the start of everything. I mean, I just really loved it. And I thought, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So Sue, you did a great job with taking them and showing them something, because it's really helpful. And the places that I teach in Lake Zurich, they have children's classes, and they're actually looking for a instructor right now for oil painting for the teenagers. So if you know anybody that wants a job as a teacher for oils and drawing for teenagers, Lake Zurich Main Street Gallery in school is looking for somebody to teach that. And that's another thing. If you want to learn how to paint, boy, teach it. It's really, that taught me a lot when I was teaching for Shapiro. I mean, it was really helped me a lot in learning things. Because for one, you don't want to look like an idiot when you're painting and drawing and teaching. So you basically really learn everything a lot faster. I think that is about it, guys. I really don't, I think I want to put those branches up there. And I don't want to like put a hard edge back there. I don't think we need it. It looks like it goes in the distance. And that's all I need up there, I think. I could put like a light branch. Light branches going like this. I could maybe do like this type of thing. Put a light branch in there. So you can put like light, super light branches in here in all different directions. And also some dark leaves. I want to do some dark leaves that are looking like leaves, but negative of what the positive ones are. See how nice and bright that looks? I still want to make it a little bit darker right here. You guys see anything else? I think that's about it, guys. I think I think I'm done. A couple darks right here, dark leaves, and then we're done. 10 minutes early, see? And again, this week I was talking a lot about timing and how long it takes to do something. Like I showed everybody my AWS entries, and it took me, like 3 hours to do those paintings. One painting at a time, 3 hours. But 3 hours for me is a long time to actually work on it. It's nice dark leaves. I'm getting really dark with these leaves over here. All right. I hope you all have a great rest of the Sunday. And I'm going to go clean my pool, close my pool, and probably do a little raking because there's the leaves that are all coming off the trees right now, or getting close to it. So you guys have a rest of the Sunday. Have a good time. And I will see you on Thursday, hopefully. And I'm not sure what we're painting, but hopefully see you then. All right. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.